listen, I'm very spiritual, right? But I'm not religious,
Right.
right? I get the difference, but also too is that this is a perfect conversation because now with my belief system, the fact I'm still alive through everything that I've gone through, the ups and downs, and it's more the fact of I honestly at 50 years old see that my career in hockey was to give me, it's just for you to pay attention when I talk.
Right.
But it's really based on faith. And it really, if you want to know that, like I'll sit here and I'll tell you is that, hey, like if you think that I'm an apostle or whatever those guys were, but the word like have this relationship with God, because I tell everybody, I got a hotline. I got the bad phone. I've had it since I was a little kid when nobody believed in me or whatever, for whatever reason, the faith in somebody greater than yourself or that I wasn't the end all be all was easy.
Yeah.
Like that relationship. And I look back and I always had, and no matter what, whether it was like they call it prayer or they call it whatever, but I would have this open conversation as a little kid, right? I grew up in my last name's McCarty, but that's not my birth name. My birth name's Francotti. I was adopted by Craig McCarty when I was 5 years old when my mom remarried. I didn't get along with Craig McCarty, but yet today I live by the principles that he taught me. So I needed a male figure in my life, and I just said, I'm going to the top. I'm going to go to God.
Yeah.
In my thing, like something greater. And I would always ask, and you can't tell me, because it was always like, it's always about doing the work and trying to be a better person and stuff like this. But I understand through everything else. And the biggest thing as I sit here, this gives the Cole's notes of it, because the greatest thing that I did personally and realize it now was in 2019, I was able to go to Israel with the Russian Five, the documentary, The Russian Five.
Sure.
That was about our Russian players. So I went and met Slava Fetisov over and Igor over in Russia and stuff like this. And we spent some time with Jenny Fedorovich and Josh Reel, who created it, and a lot of the people there. But I got the experience to go to the wall, right? Where civilization, where they say the center of the, whatever, the faith and everything, that the wall.
So the Western Wall.
The Western Wall.
Yeah.
Walk right down there. In fact, I have this tattoo right here.
Mm-hmm.
Was done in Old Jerusalem by a 23rd generation, and they did it old school, tapping it in.
Wow.
Right. So just, I felt really at home. But my whole point is this: anybody who has an experience, you walk down to the Western Wall and it's separated between male and female.
Right.
It's not loud, but there's this hum there. There's this like spiritual hum, and you can feel it. But everybody's, and there's all different ethnicities, color, it doesn't matter. When you go to the wall, and this is what my experience was, is that when you're there and you immerse, is that it's just you and him, or you and what you believe to whatever. It's very silent, personal, and it's not like you do anything. But when I left and when I came back, the biggest thing that I got, and I guess through trials and tribulations and through all the different things that I've been through the 4 rehabilitation programs the NHL's put me through, the $1 million in my head, my faith, the 12-step program, all came to the head where I walked away from there, what it was is my antenna to receive the message that is out there is at an all-time high. Now it just keeps getting better because I nurture it. And I listen and I do all these different things, and what I believe in. But the bottom line is there's something that is greater than me, mm-hmm. that I don't have this utmost control, that has helped guide me. To me, it's God, but it's that. But I have a personal, one-on-one relationship. Man, he'll walk into his office and I'll have my feet up on his desk. He'll tell me to get him down, but I feel that comfortable to do that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like every now and then he gives me a slap, but not as much anymore, because I feel like it's just there's a purpose for me. Mm-hmm. Right. And the purpose, I have all the the stats and the decorations and the medals with my hockey career, but I think with my just celebrating 7 years sobriety after having fight my whole life, I just try to lead by example, and my faith is number one to that. But it's always been there, and I've gone through life ignoring it.
Yeah.
Not knowing I'm doing not the right thing. I don't want, I know he can see me all the time and stuff like this, but I'm just going to ignore him. I don't do that anymore. But to anybody else, I tell you, take my hotline. All you got to do is say, hey, I'm using DMAX hotline right now. Boom. He'll answer right away. Just you got to, but I look back and it's awesome, Ken, because I look back and it's always been there.
Yeah.
Always. It's always been there. And I can describe it in a different way. Maybe sometimes it's like having different pets, right? Sometimes it's a dog, sometimes it's a cat, but it's always been there. And it's what I've realized, it's how do I want to nurture it? And everybody, this is your life to live, so you can live it any way you want. But if you see, I always look for people that have something that I want. What do they do to get it?
Mm-hmm.
Now, number one, you got to do the work. Doesn't matter what it is. You have to do the work. So what are you willing to do the work on? And for me, self-discovery, the number one rule is don't lie to the person in the mirror, right? Well, when you look in the mirror, it's like having a conversation. It's when you nurture it, it's like you're having a conversation with the God, and that God is you, inside of you, carrying you to whatever else you have the faith in. So greater than oneself. And it's like meditation. It's like anything else, is that it's frustrating because sometimes when we want it the most, we want to get it. But what I guess I'm here to tell you is that you've already got it. It's just, you might be looking in the wrong room, right? You're looking for it. It's not linear. It's not cut and dry. It's not this to everybody else, but it's there. It's the same thing.
What room are you looking in? Do you look in scriptures? What's your focus for your faith?
My focus to my faith is compassion. Compassion for fellow human beings. And the more somebody upsets me, I got to understand. I got to empathize and try to put myself. So if there's, and so here's the one thing too, Ken, is yes, I have a Bible. Actually, I have a New Testament little ones laying around or whatever that I love to just open up.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a message in there that I need to hear. I just have faith in that if I need that. A lot of times, no, but it's like finding a lot of my is through, like, if I go through Facebook or if I go through and I see positive clips, or I see people that need to hear something, I don't second question it. I just retweet it, because it might not be like, I put it this way. And people used to always close to me used to always like text me, or are you okay? Are you okay? Until they realize that what I tell them is that, oh, this ain't for me. This is for, I know somebody needs to hear this because I did at some point. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So a lot of the messages that I throw out aren't for me, but I've learned that lesson along the way. And I know that and I always believe that, like I said, the ability to receive the message, if I meditate or I concentrate, and that's become more of a constant. Like, I'm not one of these people that gets up every day, meditates or read whatever like that, but I look for something to pin the day on.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a song. Maybe it's like, okay, so we're recording this Monday afternoon after the Detroit Lions just won 3 games in a row and beat the New York Giants, and like stuff like that. So it's to enjoy the journey part of it. Doesn't mean they're playoff team, doesn't mean whatever, but it's a little different than for my Lions fandom. So I'm going to enjoy that today.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Sure. Yeah. When you say that you've always known, did you have an introduction at some point of faith or hearing, or what you're talking about is daily prayer? It just doesn't sound You're just using day-to-day terminology and not Bible
Yeah.
terminology.
No,
It's communicating with
yeah.
God.
I think sometimes terminology throws people off.
Right.
So you just got to do you. And so this is so everything I'm talking about is everything you could break down that I'm following, like you said, oh, this, that, or whatever. Okay, that's cool. But I look at it just like this, and that's what I really like when I look into different things and like as far as history, I'm a huge history guy because I believe that you're destined to repeat things unless you know why you did them. So if you want to positively repeat them, then you keep doing it. But if you want to change, it needs to change. And I think history's a great teacher, not only personally, but through the centuries and all that stuff. And a lot of times too, it's when you need the right person to translate what you're thinking. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of people get lost and they don't know where to go. I have a saying, don't tell me what, tell me who. I don't care what you're peddling, what you're selling, what you're all about. I care who you are. And I invest in the people, right? And then it's like, oh, okay, well, you do this or you do that. But it's having an investment in the fellow human beings. So for me, you asked me that question, the first thing, and it's not more apropos to say, but I think God got a real liking to me back when I was like 3 or 4 years old in Sunday school. When the Sunday school teacher says, "Hey, do you want to come up and sing a song?" And I sang "Rhinestone Cowboy" by Glenn Campbell instead of "Jesus Loves Me." So I think God is to me, He's got my sense of humor.
Yeah.
So He treats me in that way, and I think everybody's is sort of the same thing. The one, the whole, the energies, all that different stuff. So self-awareness and self-discovery is a huge thing for me. And like you said, there's tons of ways to find it. I like to find it in people. I like to people teach me every day.
You want to leave your mark. You want to make a positive impact. Where specifically? Do you have a focus?
The one thing is that you're a human being. You're supposed to make mistakes, but don't make the same ones twice. And to know that there is that no matter what, like all the saying, this too shall pass. Like about the universe. Just the one thing is you're not alone.
Mm-hmm.
You're not alone. Find that person to answer your questions. There's either two types of where I'm at in my life. You're either here to ask me what do you mean by that, or you're here to fight. It's either black or white, right? Because I exude the person that I am and what I'm into and what I believe, and I want people to who have questions about it. Yeah, we can disagree. You can question that, but I know my truth. And that's the biggest thing is that I'm going to live my truth. I think that if you ask me that, Ken, it comes to me is that I'm the type of person, and I pride myself on this, is that all you have is your word. And if I tell you once, I'm going to show you twice. So I learned a long time ago, and I'm fortunate. Like I said, guys, I have $1 million in this head of different things where I was taught that my heart virtue, which is what makes you tick, mine is vulnerable truth with integrity. Explains March 26th, the Lemieux, that I had to stand up in front of it. It explains my battle with addictions and now 7 years of how it's not about me anymore, but it's about showing people that it can be done, and without like the having that. To me, God is that ultimate parental figure that like he always I trust him now, but it's like I believe and trust that his way is better. I'm lucky because it's sort of in, and don't get it twisted, but it's along the lines of the Red Wing organization and Steve Yzerman when we're talking about hockey, the hashtag Wiser plan. It's the same thing because he's in charge of getting this organization back to greatness. That's why it will work out. I look at, God, the Lord, whatever like that, and the same thing. But it's also, one of the things that comes up, Ken, that I think about is And I never got this, right? Where I always said that my difference, because I never got that, like the Holy Spirit, like the Holy Trinity, right?
Mm-hmm.
3 in 1 or whatever. To me, it's three different people. You could convince me that the Holy Spirit and God are the same, but Jesus is his son. Do you understand? Like, my brain doesn't work that way. They work as two different people, right? So
Yeah.
I more look at Jesus as a brother, learns things from him, but God's the ultimate father. And that's right, wrong. I don't know. That's just Darren McCarty's breakdown of how he looks at things. Maybe you look at it. I know that if here's the thing, I know that if I think that, there's a ton of other people that think that too. I'm not special in that way.
Right.
But it's just I'm the one that's gonna come out and go, hey, anybody like messed up with this? I can't comprehend this. Does that make sense? And I think that there's a vulnerable
When you're real.
when you're real, and that's all it is. And I think here's the one thing, Ken, and I love this, and I appreciate having this conversation, because what's the big thing out there for men these days? Mental health, right? It's okay to cry and it's okay to tell our feelings.
Right.
Well, to me, this is along with the mental health, that you should be secure, whether you're insecure, you don't have a clue. But it's okay if you don't, that you're asking questions. Well, I don't get it, but you're asking questions, and I believe we all believe in something.
Yeah.
Right. I believe a lot of people think that they're the end all be all also. Right. I don't think that's the truth. And I think that more so when people don't have that higher power faith in them, and maybe their higher power, the thing is, that think it's aliens. That's cool too. But it's along the same concept that you aren't in control. And I think that's the biggest thing. And you don't have to be, but you can have faith. See, I'm lucky. Here's how it works in my world. This is the way God works in my world. I do the right things. He rewards me for it. Not with what I want, but he shows me, like, I see and receive the message now of maybe I can see where he's leading me sooner than I could in the past. Right? Because I definitely think that there's a bigger purpose for me in his eyes of for everything in my history, that I'm still alive.
Yeah.
So that's where I come from. I'm one, like, so you're a chosen one in that. And I think that now I'm 50 years old. It doesn't matter. But as we get older, we've all lost friends to sickness, to addictions, to the military, but but if you're still here, you're still here for a reason. I always believe that.
Yeah. I think sometimes you're here for a reason, not just for a purpose for other people, sometimes because you haven't had those questions answered yet.
Absolutely. See, like, that's where I don't know where this stands, but I believe in, like, I firmly believe that we're back on this human experience because we come, like, we come from there, right? We come back to experience what it's like, because if you only know bliss and everything else, then you don't know the rest. I believe that, for lack of a better term, there's like 10 levels, and then once you reach the 10th level, then you go back home, so to speak. But some people go through life and they might be stuck on the 4th level. It's like school almost, but it's spirituality, and you grow and you grow. Mm-hmm. For me personally, I probably think I'm on like level 7. Like seven, like there's more to learn. I've learned some. I can, because now the picture starts to play out, right? I'm a big 30,000 foot guy, I used to be a guy that, don't ask, it's let's do it, and don't worry about like, there's no such thing as consequences. We'll be all right, and just, fire behind. And a lot of that had to do with not knowing when it was going to end. A lot of it, and also too, my personal journey is in the last 7 years really learning who Darren McCarty is, to Darren McCarty, and who Darren McCarty wants to be, and that's the kind, compassionate, face vulnerable truth with integrity, because other people can't. So You know, I'm the one that's going to be first into the fight, or you know, first into to the house in the fight. It's just the way that I'm built. But it's also too is that you got to understand is that I also had to realize that I can't want anything more than you want it for yourself. Because if I'm paying too much attention trying to make you get it when you don't want to do the work, I'm missing out on the person behind me that I can't see that's waving their hand saying, I'll do the work, help me, help me. And that doesn't work anymore for me. So as much as I might have some personal feelings or we might be friends and we might have grew up together, if you're not going to do the work on whatever it is you're going to do it, that doesn't sit well with me. So that's just because I hold myself accountable and everything that I say, I listen to. And if I'm not, you know, some days I'm better than other, but I strive to be better every day than I was the day before. Some days it's good, some days it's not. But I know that at all, and the funny thing is just you're supposed, people think we all go through those moments, no matter who you are, right? Where you have doubts and life sucks and you wish things were different. That's when I implore people to, it's okay to have a conversation and you know, just be as real as you can.
Yeah.
And then here's the thing. If it's out there, it's out there. How it comes back is none of your responsibility. It's your responsibility just to acknowledge when you see that sign, because that is for you. If you see it, it's there for a reason.
Yeah. I mean, you may not know it, but you're quoting the Bible almost the whole time. You know,
Yeah.
seek and
So
you'll
that's
find, and knock and a door will be opened. You just got to make the first, you
well,
just got to question and you'll get answers.
Ken, here's a lot of the things, right? When I read the Bible and stuff, man, I fall asleep because the words and the old text and the be speaketh cometh pieces
We need a
to the
Darren,
way of the
we need a
you
Darren
need a
McCarty
DMAC, right? Or
translation.
the fact that when you see, do you understand when you say that to me and you go, oh well, DMAC, that's in Psalms. What I'd be like, oh, I didn't know that,
Yeah.
but cool, because you could see the reception of the message, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm learning it somehow, and maybe you need to learn it like me. But it's okay if you're like, man, this thing's I can't get through the I don't know what it means. Ken, tell me what it means. And then they go, well, yeah, dude, you're doing it.
Yep.
Seek and you will find.
Yep.
You know, all these different things.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all truth. I mean, you're fooling yourself if you just memorize some Bible verses and it never sank in and you're not living it. You can figure it out and live it. And like you said, have no idea where that came from or what book or who wrote the thing, or as long as you
No, but
find it.
you also, but here's the whole thing. So you can, so if you would say, for lack of a better term, I reverse engineered it, right? So feel free to reverse engineer it where that's why I find, like you said, the affirmations or the messages that I send, you know, I use on my Darren McCarty OSB Facebook to you know, share around, because it's not necessarily for me, it's for other people. But a lot of those messages, I'm sure if I was sitting next to somebody who is well versed in the Bible would say, oh, that comes from here, that
Right.
comes from here, because I think a lot of it does. Compassion and kindness, right?
That's right. It's the core.
So
All right. Speaking of, I appreciate your compassion and kindness, spending the time here. It's been a great conversation.
no, I appreciate it anytime, Ken, and I'm always willing to learn, because that's the whole thing. There's no right or wrong in this, right? But the fact that you and I are having this conversation, that we do have faith to something greater than ourselves, maybe it helps somebody else out, because I wasn't always here, but I always knew he was around.
Right.
Now it's just maybe I can help translate through the help of you. Like you said, I do it my DMAC-isms. I do it my way, but I think I figured, like, there's something that he's cool with it because he's led me down this path.
Yeah,
So,
I'm telling you, a DMAC translation.
he would have stopped me a lot earlier if I was doing it wrong.
Outlaw.